Okay, I am hoping that my phone does not cut me off because it cut me off for space the other day. All right, how are we doing, Doom Scribblers? I hope we're doing all right. I can see some fantastic work going on in the different rooms. This document that you're working on now is going to help you so much when it comes to writing, which we are very, very close to. So keep plugging away. By the end of the week, I am expecting from you that communal document that you're putting together and your redone pages for chapter 1 that we're going to go over as if we were doing this for the book. So they will come to me, they may get bounced back to you again, and then they'll go to Micah. But in the meantime, I want to talk to you about how you create an unputdownable book, because my branding is all about being unputdownable. And you've been working on some of the basics. First of all, you need characters that your readers are going to attach to. And what kind of characters do our readers attach to? They attach to relatable characters. So I've had this conversation in a couple of rooms because a few people have been attracted to writing about people who are right on the border of psychopathy. And that's a really hard thing to pull off. Not because you can't write it. I am absolutely sure that you can write it. But getting people to attach to that is really, really hard. Think about Hannibal Lecter. Think about how much work it is to care about Hannibal, who is the baddie. And partly you attach to him because he is a series of puzzles that you are trying to work out. But the psychological depth of that character, in fact, this is one of the few cases where the movie is better than the book, if you've read the books. But it's a really, really superb character study. Very, very hard to pull off. So you're working on relatable characters as your alpha protagonists. And your alpha antagonists are real people with real flaws who want the same thing but are in conflict with your alpha protagonist, which makes them into the antagonist. So they're not necessarily bad people, although many of them are, I'm seeing, but they want something that is opposed to your main character's goal. So you've got relatable characters. These characters have got goals, and not meeting or meeting that goal has to be a high stakes decision. So whatever the goal is, either meeting it means you get great reward, or failing to meet it means that there are dire penalties. So you have to have stakes. You've got your character's got their goal, and there are stakes attached to that goal. So you've all got that built into post-apoc, right? Because we have got some kind of cataclysm. That means you have to solve this problem, this broad problem, or everything is going to go to hell. So this is why people will always read post-apoc, because the stakes are so high, and you must, absolutely must, conquer them or die. And that do or die thing is just wonderful for stakes. We're going to be talking in the coming weeks about how to do that on a chapter by chapter basis, because you need to do it. You need to be twisting that screw tighter and tighter every single chapter. What else can you do to make your book unputdownable? I started to mention in some of the feedback that I've been giving this idea of a ticking clock. And a ticking clock is well known. If you've been writing for any length of time, you know what the ticking clock is. It goes all the way back to Aristotle. So basically, you're putting some kind of hard constraint that is an absolute. It cannot be broken. The easiest one to talk about is time. The obvious example is a ticking bomb, right? You either defuse it, or everyone is going to get everything blown to bits. So that is literally a ticking time bomb. But you can have something like, in a love story, you could have a character who has never declared themselves, and the love of her life is getting married on Friday. And so she's got until Friday to get across the country and make sure that he doesn't marry the terrible bimbo, who isn't terrible really, but is just the wrong chick, right? So it has to be a hard deadline. You can, think about a Western. The character is going to be hanged on Saturday. You've got to get there by Saturday. You've got to solve all of these problems by Saturday. You've got to get to the judge. You've got to plan the breakout. You've got to corral the horses and go storm into the sheriff's office, whatever you've got to do. But there's a hard deadline that your readers know about, and that clock is ticking away in their mind. In our case, in Team Cockroach's case, we have got cicadas. I'm looking at the time because I bet it's going to shut me off at 7 minutes. We are using the life cycle of the cicadas. And we know from fact in the world what the life cycle of the cicada is. But what our characters don't know is that that has been accelerated because of this compound that has been in the fertilizer. And so they have been genetically altered. And this has been going on for a few years. There have been some mini outbreaks that people put down to the wrong kind of thing. And suddenly they are all over the States exploding on the wrong clock. So you can play with that clock, but you can't play with it and extend it. You have to play with it and contract it. You have to make the danger come sooner. One of the things I see with new writers is they build tension and then they walk away from the tension. They give us an out, or they make things okay, or they allow their character to solve the problem and just kind of tootle off. It can't happen. The minute they solve a problem, there has to be a worse problem. And that ticking clock does not go away ever. You've got that going all the time, do or die, all the time. All right, I'm going to stop because we're at 7 minutes and I don't want to get cut off, but shoot me questions. We're going to keep talking about what makes your novel unputdownable. I wanted to start with big picture stuff because you're still in the planning stages. I want you to think about the ticking clock, or, we're on time, option exclusion, which we'll talk about as well, just making the options narrower and narrower and narrower, taking away choices from them. All right, I'll be back. Bye, Doom Scribblers.